Alright guys, I figured I'd just do a DIY Kydex sheath video today. I've made several in the past for a bunch of different knives and axes and tomahawks and things. Instead of spending $20, $30, $40, $50 on a pre-made Kydex sheath you can order online, you can save yourself a whole lot of money, just a little bit of time and effort. It's not that hard. You don't have to have the Kydex mold presses or anything, all that expensive equipment to do it. I don't even use rivets anymore because rivets are expensive. I just use paracord. You can still make a secure sheath using paracord that works for your needs. Just a few examples of the ones I've done before. I made a little sheath for my tomahawk here. If I can get it out. There it goes. So it's just a simple pancake sheath with rivets and a bungee cord that slips over the end. And then it secures it where it won't fall off. I made with this one the other day for my splitting axe. Same thing. Simple pancake sheath. Got one rivet up here to give it some tension on top, and then I've got a cord to keep it secured to the axe. Just slips over, but it's secure enough it's not going to come off. If you fall on it, you're not going to cut yourself. Some of my everyday carry knives. Had an extra extra clip laying around, and the only reason I zip tied it right here was when I put it on, the knife kind of moved away from the clip a little bit. I didn't like that, so I just secured it. But it still works, still passes through a belt loop. No problems. Little cold steel that I carry every day. I just used the Chicago screws I had left over for the sheath, or for the clip, and then secured the rest of the sheath with paracord and a couple Chicago screws. But I mean, it works just fine. There's no play, no give. It's secure. You actually have to tug on it a little bit to get it out, and it snaps in. I mean, it's a good little sheath with extra parts I had laying around. I paid $21 for 3 sheets of 12 by 12 Kydex. This is the last piece I have left over from some other projects I did. So I'm going to do that one today with this little knife here and show you all how I do it. But I mean, the Kydex is reasonable. 3 sheets, 12 by 12, just about any color you want on Amazon for $21. Of course, they're cheaper if you buy single sheets. This is a 60 Kydex, 0.60 thickness, which is what I like to work with. Everything else just seems to be tougher to work with, especially for smaller projects like small knives, everyday carry knives. This is an unfinished one I did the other day for my Tops Cali Cobra, and it's just a little pancake sheath. I just haven't tied it up yet and put a clip on there, but that's what I did the other day. Still rough. I haven't smoothed it out or anything. And this is another little spare parts one I had. I had some spare rivets laying around. They look like crap, but they work. And a clip. So it works. I mean, you can see it's secure. There's a little bit of play there, but it's just enough to get a grip. The knife's in no way going to fall out. You actually have to tug on it a little bit, and it comes right out. But it sits on my belt line. Works well. And then this one, I ordered this little knife off of Amazon a couple weeks ago. A little $10 knife. I mean, it actually turned out to be pretty decent. It's kind of a K-bar Bowie type. About 3/16 stock. Plastic handles, but they are riveted. And I just wrapped it with paracord to match the sheath, give it a visibility. I'm getting old, my eyes ain't good no more. I lose stuff. And then I made this sheath for it out of the same 60 Kydex, and all I used was the paracord to secure it. I got my little tool pouch on there, zip tied. Just something cheap I can throw in my truck. You know, if I lose it, oh well. It wasn't that much money. Old GI belt I used for a backer and a frog for the sheath. But it secures in. You actually have to pull on it. It's not going to fall out, and even if it does have a little bit of play, I always put a little extra bungee or lanyard on there. That way it keeps it secure. It's not going anywhere. But easy to do with what you have at home. I don't have any special tools. I don't have any special presses or molds or anything. Easy enough. But anyway, I measured my Kydex out, you know. I set the knife on there and see where I want it to be. I want to leave a little bit of handle out where I can get a grip on it. But with this being as thick as it is right here, it's going to have a little play. So I want to get the tip down to about here. But that's just where I'm going to cut it. And then this is the type of clip I'm going to be attaching to it, so it will go into a MOLLE webbing or a pocket. But just measured it out, see where I want it. That's about the width I'm going to want it to fold over, and then still have room to make my rivet holes, and then trim off the excess once it's pancaked over. So I just come in and cut it. And like I said, I'm mostly just working with scraps that I have laying around from other projects, so I don't worry about it being perfectly straight and perfectly angled and everything else. It suits my needs, it gets the job done. It ain't got to be pretty. So I cut it out. And then what I use is just a regular old cheap heat gun, Harbor Freight. And then what I typically do is, all I've got for a mold anyway is this little box right here. These are just foam or whatever you call them, inserts from boxes, packages I've received over the years. And I cut them up. So I've got different levels of density, different levels of thickness. And I just cut them into slice like these I use from my bigger knives. And then the kids' flip-flops wore out the other day. And they're pretty dense, so if I need something a little bit denser, I'll layer that on top of the foam. And honestly, all I do is put it on the floor and stand on it, guys. So that's my little mold box there that I use. But all we're going to do is heat that up real quick and then fold it over. Let me put my gloves on real quick because it does get hot. And then we're basically going to mold it with our fingers first. That way, make sure I got the rough side out. Well, we're just going to heat the Kydex until it gets soft enough to where it's bendable. Pretty soft and pretty flexible. And I just do a rough bend, a rough pancake to get the knife in there in the shape I want, where I want it. And then we'll put it inside the chrome and press it. The trick to working with this 60 Kydex is it heats up pretty quick, but it also cools down really quick. So you got to be kind of quick when you're doing this. The other Kydexes, the thicker ones, the 80 and the 93, which is the 93 is as big as I've ever worked with, and it's tough to work with. You got to heat it for a while, and then it takes a while to cool down. And it's not really, it is reusable, but not as much as 60. I can use this over and over. If I mess it up, I can heat it and press it back out. Hell, if I want to use a different knife later on, I can remold it for a different knife. You can use this over and over again, but like I said, it cools down pretty quick, so you got to kind of get what you want in there, where you want it. And then I want to line the edges up as best I can by hand. And then just kind of push it in and hold it there for a minute. That way it starts to take shape. I'm just trying to get it even. But you see this right here, this area here is where the mold is going to come into play. Because I'm going to have to heat that up and then press on it to really get it to mold right there. That's a fair little amount right there. So now that we've got that, all right, what we're gonna do now is get our little molds out. I'm gonna use these two pieces, and you can pretty much use anything you want laying around. I got this rag right here, but all I do is put it on the floor. I know you can't see that, but I'm putting it on the floor. I'm going to reheat my Kydex real quick. Especially like right there, just around that bend. And what I'm going to do is get that about as tight as I can get it right there with my fingers. Well, like I said, we're just using finger pressure right now just to get the basis for the outline of the knife in there. I might even go a little bit deeper with it, I think. I will go a little bit deeper with it. We'll go about, what do you think, about right there? Yeah, it should be good. And that's all we're doing, is just holding it. Like I said, you need to wear gloves because this is pretty hot. Just kind of line it up. Sometimes it'll be uneven on either side. That's fine, you can always correct that later. And what we're going to do is drill some pilot holes now for our cord, paracord. I mean, I've got the basic shape of the knife in there. And what I'm going to do is take my clip, figure out about where I want it at, about where I want the knife. If I had it in some webbing, about where I would want it to sit. So it's about right there. And I'm just going to mark the holes. And then I'm just going to follow it down and kind of eyeball it. Hell, I might even go straight with it. That's not really straight, but you get the idea. Because what I usually do is I usually round off on the bottoms. I'll round it off where I can tuck it into webbing. That might be a little bit too wide, but we can always move it over a little bit. Screw on me a guideline there. Because we can always move it over just a little bit with the drill. We'll have one right there at the bottom. Secure it pretty good. So what I want to do is get my drill. And I want to pick out one that it's going to be a little bit bigger than my paracord, because I'm going to be double looping the paracord through there. Let me take these gloves off. That seems about right. And all I'm going to do is get me another sheet of foam. Like I said, I'm just gonna just eyeballing it. It does not have to be exact. I'm actually going to get in closer right here. Because that blade tapers anyway. It'll give it a little bit more secure. Yeah, there we go. That'll just give me a little bit more secure at the end. If I'm a little bit closer to the blade, it'll be a little bit tighter. Get all these little pieces off of here. I got knives laying around. I might as well use them right. I mean, all those little giblets inside there, you don't really have to worry about those. They'll work their way out. All right. And like I said, once I screw this in, I might actually put one up there too. That way it has a little, yeah, I think I'll put one up there. So let's do one right there. Right about there. Put a screw right there. Oh yeah, that's better. That's got a little bit of tension on it. So if I secure it right there first, that'll give me just enough tension where it's not going to fall out at all. It's not going to shake. It doesn't rattle. But you know, when I push on it at the end, it catches, and I have to give it a little bit of pull, so it secures it pretty well. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get our Dremel and cut through, trim all this off, and then we'll go from there. Let me break out the Dremel tool. Bear with me for just a second. Should have had that ready, right? So What I got is just a cutting wheel, regular Dremel cutting wheel. Look like there's a little piece cut up in there. I don't have my glasses on, so yeah, we just take our little Dremel and like I said, I don't have any special tools for this project. I've been doing this a long time. You know, at one point I was thinking about doing holsters and niceties and, you know, commercially, but I never got into it, so I never spent the money on the equipment, and it didn't seem smart to buy it just for my own use, because that shit's expensive. But that's all we're going to do is just trim this off real quick. Just like so. And what I'll probably do is I'm gonna round that off a little bit on the end. Yeah, like right here up top. Done unplug my damn Dremel. But yeah, right here at the top, I'm just gonna round that off. Round this off right here. Let's come down the edge. Get rid of all those little burrs. And what I like to do is go around the edge right here. And a lot of times, depending on if the knife is sticking or not, depending on the knife, I'll go around on the inside as well. But I don't think I have to worry about that with this one. But just get it nice and smooth. Sometimes I like to round that off a little bit, because if you're wearing it on gear or wearing it on clothing, them little sharp edges can snag and they can tear your clothing, especially if you wear it a lot. And I just like to go down the side, kind of get that little edge off of there. All right. So now we got a basic sheath, and like I said, once I secure that, it's going to have a lot more tension on it. And what I'll do is I'm going to weave the paracord, and then I'm going to remold the entire thing once again and just kind of finagle with it, tighten it down, trial and error until I get it exactly where I want it. So let's begin our box of goodies over here. And here's some paracord. Got a little end that I used. Come on now, I know you're sharper than that. Alright, and what you want to do with this paracord is you're going to want to kind of burn the end a little bit it makes it a lot easier to work with. If I got a ladder around here somewhere, which I know I do, if I can just locate it. I got a ladder that works, which I thought I did. Yeah, there we go. So you just want to kind of burn that paracord a little bit, just enough where it sticks, and then kind of wrap it up. Wrap it up where it doesn't fray on you while you're using it. And that's all I was doing. It's basically, you can start at the top or you can start at the bottom. I'm going to try to start at the top, that way it's a little bit tighter. But I'm just going to weave this paracord in and out. Let me see if I can figure out how much I'm going to need though. Because I want to cut this hole. I don't want to waste this cord. I'm going to do about half. What do you think? Let's do that much. Yeah. So. All right. All right, so I get a little bit shorter piece of paracord I can work with. Same thing, I'm gonna burn the end. That way it doesn't fray on me. It's my washing machine going off it over there. I'm in the laundry room. And it is hot as hell in there. It's the summertime in Louisiana. And there's no AC in the laundry room. So it is uncomfortable, but I'm willing to sacrifice for you guys to make this video. And that's all I'm going to do is basically weave this paracord in and out, get it about the same length, and I'm just going to crisscross. So I'm going to come over, come through, and then the same thing again. I'm going to come over, come through, and you're just going to repeat that and then tighten it as you go as best you can. You want to tighten it up and then just repeat the process, weaving it over your stitch line here where it comes together. Like I said, I like to kind of tighten it up, get it in the middle, you know, where it's pretty every time I do it. It helps to just kind of hold the other one back and get it out of the way. Oh, that one's gonna... That one's kind of crossed over there. What'd I do? Did I go in the same hole? Let's see. Shouldn't have. Yep, that's what I did. I went in the same way. I went in the hole the wrong way. That's quite common. You get yelled at for it sometimes. Most of the time. Alright, like I said, you want to kind of pull that out of the way with your other hand. And just continue weaving it all the way down. Cross it over. Come back through. I wasn't paying attention a minute ago. Got it in the wrong hole, or the wrong way. Right hole, wrong style. All right. And like I said, I choose a drill bit that's a little bit bigger than my paracord. That way I can double loop them through there. If not, you'll have a hard time weaving them. You'll have to use a tool or something. And go through. Alright. Get it nice and lined up. Everything look good. Kind of push them back in there. And then all you're going to do is tie a knot off at the end. Kind of line it up. Tighten it up. Trying to line it up in the middle here. And you see there's a gap there. I mean, sometimes I use it for water drain. I let it sit there. I mean, you can double loop this knot, which I'm going to do. Double knot it. But you don't have to, because you can always burn the end of the paracord. But just kind of try to make it a little bit pretty. And then that's all we're going to do is cut it off of there. About right there. And then we're going to melt our ends. Melt them down to about, I guess, 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch. That way they bond to the other part of the knot. And that's all I do is just take the end and flatten them out. That way it makes a nice flat area there. But there's no way that's going to slip through. Just be careful not to burn the rest of your cord. Try to get this one by itself. That little knot there. See, I kind of burned my rest of my cord right there, but what I'll do is I'll wipe this over it and it'll be fine. So I'll take that and kind of, there you go. And that seals that. Even if I did burn through it a little bit, it'll seal that part right there where it won't give. And that's pretty much it. And then all you got to do is heat it up again, just like this. Since this is holding it all together now, it's pretty much got your basic shape. You're just going to heat it up, press it, heat it up, press it. You can do that by hand, or you can do it with a little mold or whatever you have. A lot of times I use pot holders. Stack a couple of them on top of each other on some kind of surface on the floor, on a cutting board, and I stand on them. That's all I do is stand on it to compress it. I put the other ones on top, you know, double layer it, put one on bottom, a couple on bottom, or like the foam. Put the foam on the bottom, and put the foam on top. Oh, excuse me. And then all I'll do is stand on it. I'll put a dish rag or something if it's hot. That way it won't burn my foam, because you see when it gets real hot on the foam. But just put the dish rag over, stand on it, and that's enough pressure that it'll mold it perfect. And if it doesn't the first time, just keep doing it. It'll finally get there where you need it. I'm going to work on this one. Hold me just a second and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Just be careful when you're heating it back up. You don't want to hit your paracord too much with this heat gun, because it will burn that paracord. So all I'm doing is getting the outside edge where I need it tight. Concentrating on that. And then I'm going to put it in the press real quick. And I'm just going to stand on it for about 10-15 seconds. Maybe do about 10 seconds on each side. Flip it over inside the mold, that way it gets pressed evenly on both sides. And that camera's shaking because I'm kind of pushing up and down on it while I'm standing on it. But that's all it is 2 pieces of foam on the floor with the knife and sheath in between them. And there you go. That's the finished product. So now you see that it's conformed, it's molded to the sheath. It's a little bit crooked right here, and all you gotta do is heat that back up if you want to. I don't mind it much, but you can see the outline of the knife. And you can tell it's in there. It's not gonna fall out, it's not coming out. It's got a little bit of give right here, but it's just enough to pull it out, and then it catches right here, and some pressure, it'll come out. But shaking it up and down, it's not going anywhere. It's not going to come out. And then all I have to do for my clip, if I want to put my clip on there, is I can go back between the rivets where I put the holes for the rivets, or I can just undo my paracord, cut my paracord, tie it off above and below where I want my clip to go at. I actually have a vest. It's actually a camera mount vest that has a couple slots in it. It's not MOLLE, but it has some slots for a pen or a flashlight or something, and that's what I'm thinking about. I'm just going to kind of drop that in that slot in case I need one, just for have an extra knife on me when we're out fishing or when I'm videoing something. But there it is. There's my clip. I was looking for my little clip. But that's it. Like I said, you can put this pretty much, I could put a screw in there. I could take this out, tie it off wherever I need to, put a screw in there, right there. Or if I want to later on, I'll probably put it back down here if I want to mount it in the MOLLE. Like I said, the vest I'm looking at, it's just a pocket. And this will just slide down into it in case I was happening to need a knife. I'm not looking at it for self-defense purposes or anything. Just to be able to carry it around on my gear, slip it into a MOLLE webbing or slip it into a pocket or a zipper compartment or something. But something that would secure the knife and keep it from poking or cutting anything that's not supposed to. But that's it. DIY Kydex sheath with what you have on hand. All you got to have is the Kydex, and you can order that online better than paying for a customized sheath from somebody. Or I mean, if you like the aesthetic of it, and they make a really good quality sheath, especially for bigger knives or holsters or something like that, that's great. But for little simple projects like this at home, this is what I like to do. It served me for a bunch of years, and it works well. So hope y'all liked it. Enjoy. Give me a like, subscribe, and we'll see y'all later.